Good evening and welcome to the coverage of the semi-finals of Euro 2020. Yes, I know, sad. We're nearing the end of what has been an excellent international competition, one I certainly will remember for a very long time, and I'm sure many of you watching the games will feel the same. It's the first of the semi-finalists where 4 become 2, and in one of those 2 will be the winners of this tournament. Italy against Spain. The national anthems are about to begin, starting with the Marcha Real for Spain. Italy's national anthem is next. It is a real shame that the tournament ends tonight for one of these two sides. Of course, this is the 4th consecutive tournament where these two have faced each other. They faced each other in the final of the tournament in 2012. They have faced each other in the quarterfinals in Euro 2008, and they faced each other in the new stage of the tournament, the last 16, the last edition of the Euros 5 years ago. The lineups: Roberto Mancini has gone for an identical starting 11 to the one he fielded in Munich against Belgium, with one very necessary change. Spinazzola is not only out for the rest of the tournament, maybe most of next season with an Achilles injury. Emerson Palmieri of Chelsea fills in. Spain have made quite a few changes from the quarterfinals. Eric Garcia is back in the centre-back pairing alongside Aymeric Laporte. The midfield is unchanged, but the front three is very different to what you'd expect. There have been questions as to who out of Moreno or Morata should start the games, and Enrique has decided to start neither tonight. A first start of the tournament for Mikel Oyarzabal, who appears to be playing in a false 9 role, and either side of him, the players who started Spain's opening game of the tournament against Sweden, the wide men: Dani Olmo on the left, Ferran Torres on the right. So a very diverse attack, players in the leagues from Germany, Spain and England in that attacking lineup. And once again, as was the case in the opening game of the tournament, we have a remote control car coming into the centre of the pitch for the referee to collect the ball from, so he can start this game. You could say that going into the game, Italy are the favourites, the more favoured. So how much will Spinazzola's absence hurt them? What we hope is a classic confrontation once again between these two sides is underway. And this could be a very tight match indeed. It is Spain from the left who have possession of the ball. Play back to Unai Simon, who in spite of the mistake against Croatia still starts. And the tackle in midfield. Nope, it's a free kick for Spain, given away by Marco Verratti. Actually, it was quite a rash challenge. Referee decides not to book the Paris Saint-Germain midfielder. So Spain continue possession from their defenders, Laporte to Jordi Alba. Given away cheaply. But no sooner than they lost it, Spain get the ball back. Up the right flank goes Azpilicueta. Torres couldn't control the pass, the ball he'd received. Back with Italy. Nothing very threatening into the either side's final third so far in the match. Out of play again. With these coaches, of course, some of the most achieved and successful in the history for both national teams, really. Mancini has won the Premier League, he's won Serie A, he's won FA Cups. Luis Enrique, of course, won the Continental Treble, probably the ultimate feat in club football at European level at least. His Barcelona side, with the famous MSN attack, stormed to all three of the Champions League, La Liga and the Copa del Rey. Bonucci brought down. Crunching foul it was that. Donnarumma pressed. Jorginho receives it back to Bonucci. And now it's out wide to Insigne, who tries a really ambitious through ball. Can Simon get there? Nerves. It's out wide. Oh! And it strikes the post. The offside flag is up from Simon's mistake. He was offside from the pass from Insigne. And he took advantage of Unai Simon's very nervous positioning. And it was heading into the far side of the net, but skimmed the post. And that's not the first time Spain's goals led a charmed life in this tournament. I remember Alexander Isak with a great strike on goal, and it hit Marcos Llorente, who hasn't featured in Spain's more recent tournament matches, and deflected off him onto the post and gratefully into the hands of Simon. Of course, his other two choices, Luis Enrique for goalkeeper, wouldn't be necessarily that much more favourable. De Gea Hasn't looked his club self for the Spain national team most of the time. Robert Sanchez, very inexperienced. Was just a couple of years ago playing in the third and fourth tiers of English football with Rochdale. Now, of course, the first choice starter for Brighton and Hove Albion, displacing the Australian Matty Ryan. Another offside pass there. So, well, they have made a few mistakes, the Spanish, so far. Their offside trap has spared a few blushes, but very early days so far. Italy press and win the ball. And very quickly dispossessed back with Spain. And the attacker have got some good options forward here, but again the pass is too heavy, and Bonucci will see that out for a goal kick. To Chiellini, Emerson Palmieri, who is usually played much more as a wing back than a full-back. I believe Thomas Tuchel has filled him in for Ben Chilwell in his 5-at-the-back system for Chelsea this season. He certainly didn't get a lot of playing time under Frank Lampard either. But Mancini, in terms of natural full-backs or wing-backs, doesn't have much of a choice. It's not that Palmieri is a particularly bad player, but certainly not his preferred option. Spin forward again, good through ball. Intercepted by Bonucci. Spain again, intercepting and getting hold of the ball quite well. Busquets back to Laporte. Laporte partnered with Eric Garcia once again. It was there's a loose touch there. He'll get it back to Simon, who clears it out, but only as far as an Italian player. But quickly backheeled into Azpilicueta, who gets it away. Hoofed out. And did Torres keep that in play? He did not. Italy's throw to be taken by Ferrati. No. It's going to be Emerson Palmieri indeed. And Oyarzabal tracks back to see that that won't be a corner. Another option for Roberto Mancini with his dilemma of who to replace Spinazzola was to field Francesco Acerbi at left back. He's played as a left-sided centre back earlier in the tournament when Chiellini was out injured. Acerbi is often used to playing at his club Lazio in a free centre-back system. But Mancini has decided to stay with his system. You can argue that 5-at-the-back, although a first for Italy at this tournament, would suit Emerson Palmieri and Francesco Acerbi more, since both have played at their best in that system for club level, and so have Bonucci and Chiellini. Di Lorenzo, I believe, has played at 4-at-the-back. A plenty for Napoli, though. Spain forward now. Low cross into the box, easily dealt with. It's generally been very slow, deliberate play. Not much countering from either team, really, in the 8.5 minutes in this match so far. Azpilicueta. Back to Oyarzabal. believe is more used to playing on the left side of a front three than on the right. No doubt he's excellent technically, or shouldn't have too many difficulties cutting onto his left foot from out wide. Barella can't get it past Spain in the very defensive areas of the pitch. Ball back with Spain. And into Koke, where Oyarzabal's in the box, cuts round, deflected, away, it's a throw-in. Back with Laporte, and much like Italy, Spain have made changes to their back line. Having Enrique decided that starting both Pau Torres and Aymeric Laporte, two left-footed centre-backs, didn't fit. He's brought Garcia back in to partner Laporte. Of course, they've had experience playing centre-back together in a handful of games for Manchester City, both having spent most of the season on the bench behind John Stones and Ruben Dias. To Jordi Alba, Laporte. Here is Eric Garcia, of course right-footed, to Azpilicueta. Fittingly, Azpilicueta and Emerson Palmieri, both of Chelsea, the Champions League winning side this year, facing each other directly on the same flank. Spain's right, Italy's left. You do wonder often what goes through the minds of those footballers who have spent so much time as club teammates, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will be at all friendly with each other on the international stage. That ball should be comfortable for Di Lorenzo. It's Olmo being nibbled at there by Jorginho. Spain keep possession. And here they come again. Great ball, and he couldn't control it, Oyarzabal. That could have been 1-0 Spain early. They keep possession though. Azpilicueta, but Mikel Oyarzabal with it's a cliche thing to say, but a golden opportunity early on in the match, and he couldn't take it. Almost was caught unawares by the arrival of the ball at his feet in plenty of space. I don't know who supplied him that ball, but it was absolutely brilliant. Wouldn't be surprised if it was the likes of Pedri or Olmo. It was from that left side after all. Azpilicueta. Koke. The furthest Koke has ever been appearing for Spain at an international tournament. He only featured in the group stages in 2014 at the World Cup. Spain eliminated. Now it's a goal kick for Italy, much to the strong annoyance of Olmo. So you see that through ball again. Oyarzabal, sorry, timed his run perfectly, but just couldn't control the ball. Indeed, it was Pedri. And it's not the first time Pedri's delivered an absolute gem of a through ball. He did that for Koke, I remember, in the last 16 games Spain played against Croatia. Very entertaining. 5 goals to 3 the scoreline. I, of course, covered that one. Chiellini rolling it back to Donnarumma. Possible teammates next season, although Donnarumma is more likely to be at Paris Saint-Germain, having left the Rossoneri as a free agent after several brilliant years with the club. headed down. And Barella couldn't direct that into her teammates. And the shot trickles wide from Torres. And Barella tried to be clever with the soft touch back to the teammates, but ended up giving it away straight to Spanish legs. And Torres tried to drill that into the corner. Donnarumma might just have had that covered as he felt the need to dive. Palmieri back to Chiellini. That's two players of Brazilian origin in the starting lineup for Italy tonight. Jorginho, of course, Jorginho Freo, his full name, starting every game of the tournament for the Azzurri so far. Emerson Palmieri, likewise from Brazil originally. Spain forward now. It's out to Olmo. No, sorry, it's Torres. He switched flanks. Again, Torres. It's too far for Jordi Alba. And it was Olmo's back heel. And a lot of people have preferred the likes of Moreno or Yarzabal, Torres, but I have to say that a lot of the time Olmo's been on the ball, I personally have been very impressed with him as well. A lot of those very soft, sudden touches that can open a whole load of opportunities as the attack progresses or is being finished in the penalty area. Olmo's often indeed played more as a centre forward, some sort of false nine for RB Leipzig. Nagelsmann preferring that over a out-and-out striker. So many attacking midfielders have assumed the role of centre forward for Leipzig. Olmo amongst the most prominent of those players. Italy get the decision. Busquets pulling back Nicolo Barella. And Insigne looks like he'll take this. He's also got Emerson on for a left footer to swing it in. I guess they don't really have any left footers. Berardi out of the lineup. Insigne's through ball is lobbed into Simon. Immobile getting on the end of that chance. And I don't know if he actually took a touch, but he simply couldn't direct it into Simon there. Out wide with Spain again, and that goes behind for a corner. Flicks maybe a little panically off the boot of, I think, Jorginho. And you would think that in the air at least Spain would have more difficulties winning aerial duels. But in comes the corner. And it goes all the way back, I believe, to Pedri, who's on his weak foot, so he plays it back to it's back with Unai Simon. So Italy's throw in then. 19 minutes being played in a high profile, high intensity in terms of significance semi-final. Not just the fact it's the semi-final, but what it means for these two teams. We've had struggles in the recent past. To get this far is already impressive for both teams, but one of them will be in the final. What that will mean for so much more of them. Spain have won this tournament back to back no more than 10 years ago. Italy, of course, have only won it the once. That was 53 years ago, 1968. And have appeared in the final a couple of times since then. Most notably 2012. Here's Insigne. He squares it. Can Immobile control it? He can. Barella. And he's tackled. And that opportunity by the Italians appears to have come to naught. And the referee has given the free kick Spain's way. Cutting apart Spain's defensive line there, but they got back in time. And it was Nicolo Barella who wasn't sure. He tried to cut it onto his left foot. Pretty good with both feet, but in the end simply couldn't get it away. Simply couldn't get a shot on. He is tackled. Another very promising attack. If anything, it's been the Italians who have produced those so far, but just haven't got the final sequence of passes, the final pass, that correct in the end. It's with Eric Garcia. But the pass falls back to Italy. Bonucci. Can't spot out Chiesa. Azpilicueta. Garcia rolls it back to Simon. Di Lorenzo. Chiellini finding Jorginho, back with Chiellini. Emerson. Chiellini. And the pass aimed at Chiesa was hit too far for his Juventus teammate in the end. And, no foul there against Barella. It's with Verratti. Insigne's through ball. The back heel didn't work there. Busquets slips but manages to get it to Azpilicueta in time. Laporte. Spain excellently retaining the ball, but they'll want to create a few more chances, I'm sure. Azpilicueta or Yarzabal. And no foul there, but it's back with Spain. Chiellini's clearance couldn't find a teammate in blue, and now it's in the penalty area. Lofted and lobbed, but only finding Donnarumma. I don't want to put a downer on this, the possible outcomes of this game, as Donnarumma clears it out with his left foot. It's into Oyarzabal. And stabbed at, and a fantastic save. Donnarumma once again a key element of Italy's defence. The last line operating fantastically, and now Italy will break. Donnarumma, who made that excellent save, phenomenal save to deny De Bruyne from distance in the quarter-final, has once again been called into action, and he replied fantastically for his country. Bonucci. Italy's throw. But Gigi Donnarumma effectively atoning for what wasn't a great clearance in the end. We've seen a lot of that from goalkeepers across the tournament, including at least one of the other semi-finalists. Spain's attacker had 2 bites at it. And the flag's up against Barella. It was Olmo. And considering there are some legs obscuring Donnarumma's vision, and especially considering it was no more than 6 to 8 yards in front of him, he did fantastically to get down, palm it away. Didn't even concede a corner or a dangerous rebound. Proving once again why he is, especially now as a free agent, one of the most sought after goalkeepers in the world. This clearance is pretty bad too. And referee says nothing doing for the challenge against Olmo. It was deemed a fair tackle. Finally gets up again. If anything, it's Olmo who's been playing through the centre more than Oyarzabal, according to the team sheets. Oyarzabal. Pedri. Albert. And Spain get a free kick. Torres brought down by Di Lorenzo. And just like Verratti's challenge early in the game, a decently aggressive one. Does wrap his ankle around. With a bit more force, that could well have been a yellow. Long by Simon, but the ball doesn't seek out Torres. Spain's lineup ultimately interchanging quite a bit in this game. It's not really been a Olmo, Oyarzabal, Torres from left to right. It's more been Torres, Olmo, Oyarzabal, if anything. That's a really dangerous ball. Simon should be able to deal with it. He lets it trickle into the penalty area before claiming it. Both sides really haven't let many chances in over the match so far. And as things stand, it wouldn't be too surprising if this game does remain scoreless at least after 45 minutes. Garcia on the ball. Before Donnarumma's great save, I was saying that I didn't want to disappoint anybody. But so we haven't had a 0-0 in the knockout stages of the European Championships, and that's after extra time and thus a penalty shootout. As we see, it appears Domenico Berardi going to be warming up before he might come onto the pitch. I'm not sure whom he's worried about fitness-wise, Chiesa. But ultimately there hasn't been a 0-0 after 120 minutes in the European Championship match since the semi-final between Spain and Portugal in Euro 2012, Spain winning that on penalties to reach the final to play Italy. There's another decently threatening ball, is tackled well. Azpilicueta. It's upfield now. But Italy win the decision. Di Lorenzo penalised. We've had a lot of penalty shootouts. We've had 5 of them in the nearly 30 knockout games. In the last 2 versions of this tournament, last 2 editions, but we've had 1-1s. We've had 3 frees, but no 0-0s. Italy playing it back to their goalkeeper. Back to Chiellini, who navigates himself out of danger. Emerson. Immobile on the left side there. Here's Olmo. And he goes himself. I suppose a wasted effort really. There was space for him to shoot, but he struck it so strong he didn't really allow it to bend. Never mind to the left or right. He couldn't get it down either. Still some Italian fans celebrating that. We've seen some great goals in this tournament where the space opens up between the centre-backs like that. See Yarmolenko against the Netherlands in their first game of the tournament. That ball out of harm's way. And so De Bruyne might have done the same against Italy, but for that fantastic Donnarumma stop. But Olmo couldn't even find the target with his effort. Chiellini doing a lot to throw the shot off, throw him off as he took the shot. It's cleared by Spain. No free kick. Chiellini, Verratti. Chiellini getting it into Insigne. Immobile here. That's a good ball, a bit heavy for Insigne, but he can't keep it in. Azpilicueta sees it behind. All of the forwards staying on side for Italy. But the ball is just a bit too heavy. Not even a corner for Italy. Referee gives Italy the advantage there, no foul. Chiellini. Bonucci. Again, some really nice quick touches of the ball to advance it, but the offside flag is up. You'll notice that the referees and officials tonight have been wearing the captain's armbands themselves. Spain having controlled possession, but having really struggled to break down the Italian defence here. Headed away. Donnarumma out to Emerson. And still Emerson cutting inside. Another break for Italy. Emerson going all the way. But in the end, he maybe went a few steps too far. Could have released it, but instead tackles, still on the ball. Spain continuing their domination of possession in this match so far, as they've done in pretty much all of their tournament encounters against the Italians over the years, not least since Luis Aragonés took over Spain over 15 years ago. Olmo. It's Alba. Garcia. Busquets. Sometimes as much as down to reputation as genuine skill, whenever he's on the ball you do sometimes wonder what he'll be up to. Sergio Busquets. No doubt not at his peak. Still one of the best deep line playmakers in the current age of football. Although in this tournament at least, Jorginho's not been at all shambolic himself. Definitely a key reason as to why Italy have reached this stage of the competition. Free kick against Spain there. Busquets fouling Barella. And there's a clumsy boot from Busquets on Emerson. But it's deemed accidental. No forever action required. Again, ball given away by Italy. It's within Italy and with Insigne. Some good sequences here for Spain, and Oyarzabal with a dreadful mishit. Again, probably even more wasteful than the shot from Olmo a few minutes ago. He certainly was aiming to shoot, bends it into the far corner past Donnarumma. But the unpleasant feeling when you strike the ball feeling you know what's going to happen, only for it to go in a completely different direction in that moment. Just as you realise it's not going in the direction you expected, probably realising just as quickly why that might have happened is very awkward, not least in a European Championship semi-final. And one of Spain's better chances, if not as a shot, as a shot-creating action from Mikel Oyarzabal. Good ball over the top here, headed out by Simon. Two sides have done well to cancel each other out so far. Another free kick going Spain's way. Frustration from Italy's midfielders. It was Barella. No, Jorginho and Marco Verratti weren't particularly pleased either. But Barella's wrapped his ankles around Busquets a little too keenly. Simon a bit unsure how to distribute the ball and when to. But it's out now, but back with Italy. Insigne. My apologies, it's Emerson Palmieri. It's now Chiellini. Bonucci. Di Lorenzo. It's blocked but headed into Italian players. As you can see, even though they have created some decently threatening opportunities, Italy haven't actually taken a shot in this match so far. Not only has all the possession been with Spain, so have all of the actual attacks which have led to a shot, a chance of some kinds. Here they come again. Pedri to Azpilicueta. Garcia. Laporte. Albert. That's another good ball, but Italy see it off. Again, it's fantastic from Pedri. As this tournament's gone on, I've seen people suggest that he could go on to be the next Xavi. Technicality, passing range. Bit of hesitance from Donnarumma clearing that, but he does it just in time. Chiellini. Emerson, who's been very disciplined as a left back this evening, and he's won a free kick. Certainly hasn't been caught out when going forward as often as some might have expected. Brought down by Koke. Of course, yellow card rules have been revised over the years. Neither of Italy or Spain's players that are fit have been suspended for this game. Of course, Spinazzola gone for Italy, but Pablo Sarabia is not in the team either. Here's Insigne. He has Emerson in support. Oh! And he went for the shot. And he's appealing for hands. Mancini likewise. And looks like, sadly, they were offside in the build-up. At least Emerson was. Would have been quite a strike, almost, not quite to the same extent, but almost Van Basten-esque if he'd beaten Simon with that shot, Emerson. And that's time on the first half. There's been chances for both sides. Spain definitely have been better at creating them to actual attacks, but neither side has really threatened each other so far. Well, of course, both teams early on did have a couple of semi-dangerous opportunities, but ultimately they're yet to truly push each other into conceding some truly scary opportunities. It is Italy 0, Spain 0 at the break. Welcome back to my coverage of the second half, maybe not the last part of the first semi-final of this tournament. La Roja against the Azzurri. Both sides have created some slightly threatening chances against each other, but ultimately it is a scoreless match so far. It is Italy who are going to kick us off for the second segment. And we're off. And instantly there's been a foul against Bonucci in the opening moments after the restart, and he aims for a teammate hoping he'd see that, but it goes nowhere. Indeed, closer towards Luis Enrique than any of the other Italian men on the pitch. And now we have throw in for Spain. And now a free kick in Italy's favour. There's some handball there. In fact, I think it's hit the referee because he's done a he's blown for a drop ball, and it's with Spain and Eric Garcia. Albert prodding it towards Torres, but the free kick is given against Spain because Torres was offside. And Spain continue where they left off, controlling possession. Albert getting it back to Simon. It's a dreadful pass, and Italy have won a corner. Once again, Unai Simon's nerves getting the better of him. Thankfully not in a fundamental way like against Croatia, but still, imagine if this is costly. Insigne will take the corner. And it's headed away. No one really near the ball for Italy. Spain have initiated a counter, but easily dealt with. And now it's into Immobile. And his physicality helps. But in the end, a successful challenge and a corner once again for Italy. It was Laporte, one of the best centre-backs in Europe, against one of Europe's best centre-forwards. In fact, I don't even know if... No, Laporte didn't have to do much. Immobile shot himself, but the defenders had done enough to direct his shot in a pretty insignificant direction regarding the goal. Nicola Yarzabal for Spain now. And here's Olmo on the right side. Di Lorenzo did just enough. Almost cross around Chiellini. Donnarumma anticipated a shot from Torres, which never came in the end. It was Spinazzola who cleared off the line effectively in the quarter-final, and now the opposite fullback has done similarly. A last-ditch defensive action, this time in the semi-final. Maybe it will be a decisive one. Koke with the corner. Headed out, but back with Spain. It's Oyarzabal. Koke gets it into Alba, but he's tackled. And Italy have won a free kick through Immobile. Yellow cards. For a Spanish player, I believe it's for Busquets, for a pretty aggressive foul on Ciro Immobile there. As I said, yellow cards have been wiped out, so Busquets, even if he had collected the yellow card before the semi-final, will not miss the final if Spain get there. Great punch away from Donnarumma in that corner there, beating Busquets of all people. But of course Busquets would miss the final if he gets another yellow. 40 minutes of football still to play, and potentially, if the result stays this way, or if both teams successfully fire at each other, in the next 40 minutes it would become 70. And pretty much every time one of these knockout fixtures has gone to extra time, it's been rather thrilling at worst. Italy and Austria scoring 3 goals between them in their period of extra time at Wembley a few stages ago. Spain scored twice against Croatia. Ukraine scored at the last minute. And the shots, from Busquets just over the bar. Another promising attack from Spain. And Busquets, who's not used to scoring many goals, he has scored for Spain before, was looking like it was going to steer into the top corner, but it went towards Donnarumma, and in the end wasn't even on target. Not even a nice clip of the crossbar, and it's with Italy and Insigne, who's still got it. It's Immobile, out to Chiesa, and Chiesa can't beat Simon. He gets down smartly. Certainly one of Italy's better chances so far today. Like Pedri, like Oyarzabal, Federico Chiesa is one of those players you're going to hear a lot more of on every facet of the continental, of the European stage over the coming years if he continues to develop, and then most likely the world stage. Lots of young players have had their moments at this tournament. In the case of Matthijs de Ligt, unfortunate ones, of course getting sent off for a goal-saving handball, but he isn't of course the goalkeeper. It wasn't in the box, and off he went. Netherlands crumbling to a 2-0 defeat after that, but it would be unfair to say that the Netherlands were comfortably the stronger side. The Czech Republic had kept things under control up to that point anyway. But de Ligt, at his first major tournament, will be hoping for more happy memories, as for the whole of the Netherlands really. One such youngster who didn't really succeed. As I said, plenty of others from other nations have. Koke here. Again, Spain getting it into advanced regions. Can Italy keep mopping up this pressure? Laporte. Pedri. Eric Garcia and Laporte looking for a threatening ball between the two of them. It's with Busquets now. But quickly, despite going into the right flank, back with the centre-backs and now with Laporte. And again, Di Lorenzo with a great defensive contribution, seeing the through ball behind Domenico Berardi. Looks like he'll be coming on shortly. Certainly not for Donnarumma. He's just in shot there. Laporte rolls it back to Simon. Azpilicueta through Garcia. Italy get possession. Good feet from Marco Verratti. Both are pretty excellent on the ball in those situations anyway. And the cross isn't a good one. Very short indeed. And here comes Spain again. This is Torres. Ferran Torres blocked. Crucial block. Even though he was barely into Italy's penalty area when it left his right boot. Free kick goes against Spain, fouled by Olmo. And it's given away by Italy there. Barella it was. Mikel Oyarzabal. Oh! He found the corner, but Donnarumma saw it coming. This one directed a bit more, well, it was still aiming quite high into the net. Donnarumma was alert and a very familiar shot for the Italian number one to save. Here's Immobile. Just couldn't get the ball into a teammate, but it's with Italy. They couldn't control the passes. Back with Spain again. Busquets to Pedri, who has Torres to his left. Oyarzabal, Koke. Laporte. Oh. And the cross into Donnarumma, who quickly distributes it. With so many Spanish players forwards, Italy with a decent chance of the counter here, but the ball is rolled too far. But here is brilliant goal from Federico Chiesa to put the Italians into the lead. Absolutely wonderful. 59 minutes played and Federico Chiesa with a quite fantastic goal indeed. Donnarumma quickly laid the ball out. And within 30 seconds it had found the back of Spain's net. Let's see it again. Everyone accelerated at once. Everyone knew what they were doing. And the challenge was a good one from Laporte. But he just couldn't get it far away enough from Chiesa, and Unai Simon knew there was nothing he could do to stop that one. No acrobatic or energetic a dive would allow his hand to beat that away. And Chiesa, who already scored a really nice goal against the Austrians at this stadium in the last 16, scored a goal which might well be the one that takes Italy into the final. A final they have not won since 1968. Half an hour for Spain to respond. Spain certainly having looked the deadlier of the two sides in terms of pure chance creation, but Italy had been threatening on the break for a while now. And it's Alvaro Morata onto the pitch. Italy have only conceded 2 goals in this tournament so far. Spain have conceded more than that in 1 match alone. Even failed to score in a match earlier in the competition. That was against Sweden, and in front of their own fans in Seville that time. And I'm sure, having had most of the ball in the game so far, they're certainly going to dominate it for the remainder of the match, at least until they were to equalise. And now Italy's defence, which has already been tested, will be under even further scrutiny. That's a threatening enough cross, but it's headed away by Chiellini. Oyarzabal with the corner. Kept away. And the one-touch football. A bit too frenzied there. Eric Garcia. Aymeric Laporte. Busquets. Garcia. Azpilicueta's cross doesn't go very far, but it's headed out to a player in white, and the header can't be directed in by Oyarzabal. What a chance that was. Of course, they've only conceded in the very recent past, and with the amount of pressure they're sustaining, who knows, more might fall their way, but that was an excellent opportunity to square it. And now they must try all over again. Oyarzabal with an excellent header in terms of the ball he was supplied to be headed with. But it came at him too quickly. He still should have done better. Spain have had an issue consistently throughout the tournament of creative finishing chances. Creating hasn't really been their problem. Tonight's been no exception. They have been creating loads of good chances. But now one of them has to find a net in the next 25 minutes or it's over. Laporte straight into an Italian player, that pass. Koke. And that cross is easy for Chiellini to clear away. Spain, if you look at some of you may not be fond of it, but for those who are, if you've seen the expected goal stats for the quarter-final against Switzerland. Oh! Another shot from the edge of the box, put wide. Del Niomo, I think it was. Oh! Wouldn't fall his way. Struck it with the outside of his right boot. Certainly Spain had enough chances to score at least twice against Switzerland and only scored the once, and that was in the end put down on the score sheet as an own goal. So to fail to score only once from an XG of about 3 or 4 in 2 matches is certainly concerning, something they'll hope to improve on for the next tournaments. That's not going to be on their minds tonight, of course. Their priority is to score. Score without conceding again, of course. But the ball is with Italy and Berardi gets it forward. Chiesa. And Berardi! Stopped by the legs of Simon. Italy with a rare spell of possession. Getting a fair bit done with it. And that ball overhit for every Italian player. Comfortably back with Unai Simon. Laporte. Alba. Laporte. To Busquets now, who plays it back to Laporte. Oh, nice central ball from Busquets. And the free kick goes against Spain there. We're going in a little too aggressively on Barella. As you see a replay of Chiesa's beautiful back heel for Berardi. It was a difficult angle for Berardi, but it was still potentially going to go under Simon and in. Just keeping Spain's chances alive. Moreno has replaced Oyarzabal. And Rodri has also come on in the place of Koke. Interesting substitution from Spain. Certainly not in short of creative midfielders on the pitch, and bringing on another more defensive midfielder, at least in terms of positioning, is an interesting one for sure. Rodri certainly tends to have more defensive work than someone like Koke or even Busquets, but ultimately he did play some great football when he was at Atletico Madrid, playing in a double pivot. Used to being the only one at Manchester City. But Rodri has been solid enough this tournament, but he has had his moments, inglorious moments, missing that penalty in the shootout against Spain. Very poor penalty it was. Just as bad as the one by fellow pivot Busquets. Laporte over the top. The header is convincing, but he doesn't find a teammate, but it's with Olmo now. Just kept in play. Donnarumma's missed it. And wide by Azpilicueta. And after some brilliant heroic moments, Donnarumma didn't position himself well. It's off the head of Emerson. Italy considering making some defensive changes. Two Atalanta players entering the field. Matteo Pessina and Rafael Toloi, another player of Brazilian origin, onto the field. Here's Berardi now for Italy. And that should be a corner. Or it is a corner. Despite having to create an equaliser, Spain looking very nervy on the break. Di Lorenzo, no, it's a throw-in, but Spain with men back to guard their box. Berardi, Di Lorenzo. Chiellini. Jorginho. Oh, very weary pass from Donnarumma at only the expense of a throw-in, but it could have been much worse than that. Both goalkeepers with nervy moments in this game so far. Marco Verratti coming off to be replaced by a more physical but still pretty creative midfielder in Pessina, although not with the same creative output as someone like Verratti. Still a good midfielder in his own rights. Pessina, who has scored twice for Italy at this tournament. And on comes Toloi for Emerson Palmieri. Curious that he's gone with Toloi for the left-sided Emerson when he also has Acerbi and another left-footed centre-back who is also great in the back three. Inter's Bastoni. It's Toloi to take the throw-in. Very quickly won by Spain. But Italy will try to break again, quickly intercepted by Spain. Simon directing that just into her teammates. Garcia. Laporte. And the pass from Olmo doesn't find anybody. Donnarumma. Doesn't pick a teammate out either. 15 minutes to play at Wembley, not counting stoppage time. Unai Simon to Laporte. Spain have got it into the final third with Moreno. And it's through here. The cross deflected wide. Corner for Spain. Morata trying to supply a teammate rather than score. Almost corner. It's short, but headed away. Spain back with it back to Garcia. Laporte to Albert. Of course, once again, Italy preserving a 1-goal lead. The third match in a row where they've had to do this. Oh! Another poor clearance. Under pressure, no doubt, but it was a great ball over the top for Italy. And Simon clearing it straight into a teammate, which gives Italy the throw-in and keeps a lot more pressure on Spain than they would like at this stage. Forward by Chiellini. Berardi. Back to Bonucci. Intercepted. And Jorginho tries to get it upfield. But beaten to it by Azpilicueta. Back to the goalkeeper to be redistributed. 12 minutes for Spain to save their European Championship. Garcia. Azpilicueta. And given away to Italy in a dangerous area. Oh, Simon getting that one just in time against Berardi. Spain have definitely had a harder time since the goal's been scored. That's pushing deep into Italy's third. Good ball forwards. Morata has equalised. The story for Spain is not over just yet. He was through on goal, and his shot, as he desired, with the analogy of an archer, was indeed precise into the net. As I said not long ago, the XG at least, whether you believe that or not, suggested Spain were due at least a few goals over the remainder of this tournament. They've got one. It's 1-1 at Wembley. And given his reputation, I'm sure a lot of Spanish fans' hearts were in their mouths when they saw Morata through, of all the players. But he took his chance. Spain eliminated at the last 16 5 years ago by Italy. Alvaro Morata was one of that tournament's top scorers despite his country's early exit. He now has a chance, maybe not to challenge for the Golden Boot necessarily, but at least put his stamp, a big stamp, on his country's progress in this tournament. Has Italy been too defensive in their attempts to maintain their advantage? And there's still 9 minutes still to play. Spain coming forward again. Scrappy cross. And it goes behind for another Spanish corner. Italy certainly looking a little more nervous now. They haven't once trailed in this tournament so far. Here comes the header. Oh! Couldn't quite reach Busquets or Laporte. It said that Italy did trail technically for a little bit against Austria, but Austria's goal was disallowed there. The header from Marko Arnautovic. Free kick for Italy. And that pass, dreadful pass out of play. For many people, even though quite a lot of people acknowledge the threat of England, and at the very least their great defensive performances throughout this tournament, I'm sure a lot of people before the tournament started at least fancied these two sides, at least one of them maybe to make the final. And for some, this is the final before the final. Whoever wins this could go on to win the competition. That said, England and indeed Denmark also look like threatening opponents too. Another good ball forward for Spain. Oh, wild and over from Moreno. Overhit that really. And two more substitutions, maybe of the more offensive kind for Italy. Chiesa, I thought, would be coming off. At the time, Toloi and Pescina did come on. He is exiting play now. Barella off too. Manuel Locatelli. And Andrea Bellotti of Torino also coming on for Lorenzo Insigne. So Italy will be playing with two strikers up top. And a more offensive change for Spain. Marcos Llorente takes over the right back spot from Cesar Azpilicueta. 5 minutes to go. And that's not counting the stoppage time. I don't expect there to be too much of it though. Is that Donnarumma hobbling as he dishes the ball out? We'll have to see as time progresses here. So, 2 of Italy's midfielders have come off. 2 of Italy's forwards are off. Chiesa, I believe, will now be a number 10 of sorts. Just looking at who Italy have brought on and what sort of formation they're playing. The score's at 1-1. 4 minutes of stoppage time. And tensions beginning to creep in on an individual level. Appears to be a skirmish between Jorginho and Olmo there. Spain have got possession and a free kick, won by Pedri, who is clutching his ear. He appeared to be in a bit of pain there. Refuses to be helped up by Berardi. Didn't appear to be any contact towards that side of Pedri's head, never mind his head in general. Poor touch, but Spain have the advantage now. And here's Morata cutting in from the left, but he's hit it too hard. Disappointing waste of possession, probably as disappointing as some of the long shots we've seen from Spain earlier in the game, like that underachieving performer who can't quite compose himself on the biggest stages. It is worth repeating because it may well be very significant later on to have scored the equaliser that has saved Spain in a European Championship semi-final. But Italy are forward now. Passes weren't delicate enough. The ball was with Spain there. Italy gets the throw in. And still, Italy trying to get the ball into Spain's third. We're in the 90th minute. Looks like Italy are the ones attacking in the late stages of this game, although the pass from Chiellini didn't find the teammates. It found Enrique, who gets it back to Spain through the throw-in. Spain also keen to attack. It might just be that these teams are just going to waste time, and the extra time period that is going to follow should neither score, or if by some miracle they both scored once, will follow, it seems. Olmo now. Chiellini just gets that away. And now, the balls of Italy. It's 2 against 5, but they have a good opportunity on the break here. And No foul. Spain players up the field. And it's 3 minutes to be added on. We've played half of one of those minutes already. And Spain still pushing men forward for one last chance. And Di Lorenzo has given Spain a corner. Well, it was unnecessary defensive action now. I don't believe that was intentional, but the ball does hit Chiellini's wrist there. And the referee decided nothing doing. A moment of fortune or divine intervention for Italy there. In comes the corner. And headed down. And the referee says no foul. Ball still with Spain. Minute and a half to play before extra time. It looks like if there is to be a goal, it's going to be a winning one. Pedri dropping back. Sorry, that's Laporte. There's a good ball forwards. But it's hit too far. Donnarumma slips before he can play it out. And simply not at the intense rates as he did at the hour mark, which led to Chiesa opening the scoring. And that ball is too heavy and Simon retrieves it. Final minutes potentially for one of these two teams to produce something very special. Whatever happens, whomever progresses, looks like one of these two teams could be set for another 30 minutes before going into that final against England or Denmark. And if the England-Denmark game is concluded inside 90 minutes, that will be an advantage for whomever wins that semi-final. Both Spain and Italy have played extra time in this tournament. It'll be the third consecutive match for Spain in which it goes to added time, and the second for Italy as well. They played 30 minutes at Wembley against Austria. We're seconds away from that being confirmed, but Spain might just have one last chance here. No, it is extra time indeed. And who knows, maybe the two sides, if they can't find a goal early in the period, could well retrieve their energy and decide it from the spot. Lots to be played for still. The two sides exchanging once again. Exchanging goals. And at full time, with extra time to be played at Wembley in this first of two semi-finals, it is Spain 1, Italy 1. I'll be back soon. Welcome back for what I hope is a gripping 30-minute period. Might not be. As I said just before going off air quickly, will the teams try and play for a goal early in the 30 minutes? But with both teams having played at least one period of extra time in their knockout campaigns so far, will they conserve energy, play out penalties, so that they can, with the chance that they will win that shootout and return to Wembley on Sunday. We've had 5 periods of extra time in this tournament so far, and 2 of which have gone to penalties. It indeed is 4 of them in the last 16, one of which, France against Switzerland, going to penalties. We then had one quarter-final going to extra time, and that went all the way to penalties. I guess in the last 16, a bigger disparity between the levels of the opponents, and teams pushing a bit more, with a bit more energy, a bit earlier in the tournament. Hadn't played as many games in this period. Spain win a free kick, given away by Toloi. Albert and Pedri. Well, Pedri, I think, was originally going to be the left-footed taker, right-footed taker for Spain, and even Alba is now walking back as a potential teammate for the ball to be played into. So when it comes, headed away. Di Lorenzo with some very strong defensive work so far in this game. And doesn't look like a particularly great challenge. Berardi hopping before going down. Albert clutching his left ankle. Definitely look like if Alba is injured from that at all, it's the direct impact. It looks like Berardi indirectly hurt himself from the challenge. It wasn't anything Alba did deliberately, or... Well, they both track back. So some more tired legs certainly as this period of extra time advances. Ball is replaced, hence the delay. And when I first looked at the lineups for the game, it said that Olmo would play on the left, Torres on the right, and Oyarzabal through the middle. It is indeed Olmo in the middle, Torres to the left, Oyarzabal to the right. Olmo, of course, was the false 9 in the end. Indeed, it was through being in that role that he supplied Morata, who's equalised and led to this situation. Garcia back to Simon, now back to Laporte. So Spain still on the ball with Marcos Llorente. Marcos Llorente, who is his 4th appearance of the tournament so far in his 6th match. Throw in by Italy. Donnarumma has indirectly won a free kick as Belotti is brought to the ground. He does appear to be winded. Referee has stopped play. He grabs and does his best to massage his own lower back. An awkward collision between himself and Eric Garcia. And will it mean another change for Italy? He was brought on to replace Immobile, but it looks like he will be okay to continue on his own terms at least. There have been some unpleasant incidents involving impacts with the back. Mario Fernandes substituted for Russia in that group game against Finland, the 1-0 for Russia. Not that it kept them in the tournament in the end, but he was really worried that it was an actually genuinely serious injury. Fernandes did actually, despite being stretched off injured, did come back for the final group game. In fact, started the final group game against Finland. It did look like a particularly worrying injury when he was taken off the field. Here's Spain, and that's a yellow card, not least a set piece for Toloi. It was cynical on Olmo in the end, even though Olmo I think was asking for it a bit. But Toloi did stick his ankle out, so definitely was impeding Olmo somewhat. I think Olmo just exaggerated the contact a little bit. In comes the delivery, it's low, and Donnarumma brilliantly stopped it. Very clever delivery in the end. He kept it away, volleyed back in, and just wide. I think that will go behind for a goal kick. Now, there does appear to be Eric Garcia being brought down there. I don't know if the referee is going to consult VAR yet, but again, there's luck on Italy's side there. awkward sort of incident there. I think that's the first shot of fans in the stands, and then their realization that they're on the world feed. A few moments of fame and attention. Not that I'm against that, of course. It is nice to see people, so many different people, reacting to a unique moment, potentially in their lives, most likely. As sad as it might be to say something like that. But the World Feed Director hasn't shown too many of those shots. Most likely around the times when the goals were scored for the two sides. Llorente here. Spain playing very far forward. Big gap between the defence and the midfielders in this instance, with Belotti pressing for Italy. Rodri, who, if anything, is playing at right back to allow the likes of Llorente to overlap. Llorente has definitely been fantastic going forward for Atletico Madrid this season. A key element of their La Liga title success, along with the output of course, Luis Suarez. Busquets here. Rodri. And the low ball. Donnarumma can't get to it. And Italy blocked the rebound just in time. A couple of heart in the mouth moments for Italy themselves in extra time so far. The set piece was nervy a couple of minutes in. Donnarumma again a bit uneasy with the ball. And Olmo couldn't get to that. It was Bonucci who made the crucial block. Moreno with the cross in. Donnarumma punched it out. And now Italy get a free kick towards the end of the first half of this added period of gameplay. Of course, Italy's unbeaten run, if this does go to penalties for them, their unbeaten run is going to continue. Of course, if they win inside the 30 minutes, but if they as long as Spain don't score a winner, technically, even if they were to lose the penalty shootout that follows, if they drew extra time, Italy, I believe, would then be still their unbeaten streak would technically still count, but it would of course be painful regardless to be knocked out at this point, and the unbeaten streak, whether it's officially over or not, wouldn't matter anywhere near as much, quite understandably. Rodri forward now. Olmo, that's another good ball, but it didn't get to Morata like he wanted. Sometimes even the managers and most composed people want closure. The chance even to score this early in extra time would be taken gratefully. Gives them the advantage, of course, not just on the score sheet but in momentum. course, it would make things so much easier, even if they were to concede an equaliser before the end of extra time. Here's Rodri. Pedri. Sergio Busquets. As we have seconds remaining in this first period of extra time. Llorente. Rodri. Good ball inside the fullbacks. And Italy keep it away from danger again. The centre-backs in the right place, the other defensive players doing their job. Beautiful ball from Rodri. He's done that plenty for Manchester City. And we have a quick break before the second and potentially fateful period of extra time. And if we're still level after that, well, you know what's coming. I've mentioned it enough times, I'll probably mention it again as the second period looms to an end, and if neither team has scored excessively against the other, could even be 2-2 in the last 15 minutes. It does happen every now and then in cup football. Perfect time for coaches to give final instructions to the players. Often they'll have so little control of what happens with the players when there is gameplay and no reason to stop. A lot of discussion. Is either side going to push for a goal? 2-1. Nothing is guaranteed. Even in the 45 period, a goal might not be enough, might not be what you end up getting. A substitution midway for extra time. Busquets certainly won't be taking a penalty if it does go that far. Replaced by Thiago Alcantara, so we will have one of Manchester City's key midfielders, and I'm sure with time one of Liverpool's key midfielders, sharing the pitch for Spain. Potential big 15 minutes in the history of these two proud and successful national teams. Sure if they have spoken before, Chiesa and Enrique. I think when Enrique was managing in Italy with Roma, Chiesa was probably not even old enough to play professional football legally. So we're off now for the second period. Donnarumma doesn't keep that in play. Might have taken a deflection as he passed it out. It didn't. Morata's tried to, with his back to goal, turn that behind. Might have distracted him enough to keep it out of play. So it is Spain's throw-in, as both sides take chances, try to head the ball into their general possession. It is with Spain. And Spain have won a free kick again. Olmo, once again, the man who's fouled, this time by Locatelli. Two great technical players with different responsibilities. Locatelli has played as a central midfielder for Italy, but he almost always has played as a deeper playmaker, pivot for Sassuolo. There's a replay of the goal. More than 3/4 of an hour ago. No, actually closer to an hour ago, which put Italy in front. Chiesa off for Federico Bernardeschi, who many have said has definitely played better for Italy than he has for Juventus. Some even suggesting that he was going to be the left-back replacement over Spinazzola. Alcantara hasn't featured much since he came on as a substitute in the opening game against Sweden. He tries an unorthodox delivery. Almost seems to go for goal. Plenty of tricks in his career play, Alcantara. Certainly one of the best midfielders at club level, at least for the last number of years, but has seldom played in this tournament for Spain. Enrique enjoying the balance of Busquets, Pedri and Koke. Italy forward now. And it's intercepted, played back into Simon and away. And as expected, certain players cramping. Remember, this is the third period of extra time in a row Spain have played in. And I'm sure that will be in mind for Denmark and England. And they would hope, as this game continues to be played out, that La Roja are the ones in the final, because that would definitely be an advantage for them. Neither Denmark nor England have had to play extra time in their 2 knockout matches so far. Potentially future teammates, Eric Garcia and Jordi Alba. I say potentially because you might have heard of FC Barcelona's struggles with wages. Indeed, they are changing the centre-back partnership that has been a difficulty for Spain when they're paid to go with Pau Torres of Villarreal on for Eric Garcia. Barcelona have struggled to pay their wage bill. Certain free transfers, including Eric Garcia, have been blocked. A saga that will certainly continue to play out, probably after the tournament finishes in 5 days. As Torres, with his first touch of the ball, heads it out for a throw-in. As I said, the centre-back partnership between the 2 left-footed centre-backs as compared to the left and the right foot for Spain hasn't been as clean. Probably played a part in, definitely played a part in the equaliser against Switzerland. And here is a chance for Italy, but Berardi is blocked away. And now here's a lob ball. And there it is! No. Offsides against Berardi. So I'm sorry if I briefly convinced you guys that there was a goal. Berardi was offside by a long way, in fact. And it's a lovely finish over Simon. But it doesn't stand. Still 10 minutes for the 2 sides to find a winning goal here. As I said, that Torres and Laporte conceded. There was a mix-up which led to Shaqiri's goal, which equalised the match against Switzerland, and they didn't look quite as consistent when they played together against Croatia. Definitely played a part again in the general nature of how Croatia created so many chances forwards and came back from 3-1 down to tie it at 3-3 and bring it to extra time. Jordi Alba. Torres, who is playing on the left side of the centre-back pairing after over 110 minutes of play. Laporte goes over to the right side. Torres now on the left. Albert, who I believe is wearing Spain's the armband, the captain of Spain now that Busquets has come off. Spain, Belotti having been penalised here for a challenge on Alba. Yes, he is wearing the armband. And it's a bit harsh on Belotti. He doesn't appear to unnecessarily impede Alba. Alba, if anything, stuck his leg out. But the decision goes Spain's way. While both Spanish centre-backs are tired, they're certainly controlling the ball well in these final minutes of extra time. Seven and a half minutes remaining. Extra time will then become stoppage time, I think, for a minute or two, depending on if there are any goals that are scored. Another collision and an offside flag. But it is Spain who continue to hold on to the ball here. I'd say that in this second period of extra time there's certainly been less attacking impetus from Italy. They certainly don't look as intense and as dangerous as they did in even the first period. Spain potentially pushing on here, but Italy's defence keep neutralising their attacking attempts. And if Italy can't create anything either, send this to penalties. Olmo, Rodri, and now a break on for Italy, and a through ball to Belotti was shut out, and now Spain in space. It's Morata for Spain. It's blocked. He'll take the throw in. Olmo running at the defenders, gives it to Morata. But can't get it away well. Spain back with the possession though. Iris is simply going to bat away all of the balls Spain throw at them. That one's comfortable for Donnarumma. 5 minutes of extra time to be played. Probably just the 1 minute of stoppage time remaining, based on how the second period has played out, unless there's an injury or a big set piece or sequence of set pieces even, or less likely than any of those, perhaps a goal. Another offside against Italy. Italy certainly looking the more tired of the two sides in this game so far. They've been more pragmatic and it's paid off to an extent, although of course they will have hoped for more. other words, well, they have conceded a lot of chances to Spain. They'll be disappointed not to have kept up Morata's equaliser. Of course, once he was through, there wasn't really much that could be done. Donnarumma can't find a teammate. And a throw in for Italy to be taken by Toloi. Minutes to go. Morata winning. A free kick, yellow card out. In the direction of, I think, Leonardo Bonucci. Was a high boot against Morata's fight. Former club teammates. No, sorry. They were. Morata did. I was considering the time when Morata was at Juventus 5 years ago. I forget that he is keen to be renewed by the Italian club, in the hope that they can return to the top of Italy's podiums. Nice ball out. Wide onto the right side for Spain. The 119th minute. Oh, and that's hooked away. And you feel if it carries on like this, Italy will see this go out over the 120. Throw in to be taken. By Albert. An ambitious ball inside the fullbacks again, but hit way too far. Young and old, fans biting their nails, singing their side on. Looks like it is going to be a shootout after all, where the real uncertainty begins for these two sides. Its players are hardly moving, as if they want the referee to blow already. Their fate might just be sealed here. Or is this a final opportunity for Italy? That does it. It will be a penalty competition to decide who is in the final of UEFA Euro 2020. Who will face England or Denmark? We had 3 shootouts in the 15 knockout games 5 years ago, and we have a third shootout in Euro 2020. Simon saved 2 of Switzerland's 4 penalties in the quarter-finals. Donnarumma, one of his first games I remember was a club friendly against Real Madrid, and he did stop a couple of penalties then as a 16-year-old. He saved some important penalties in games for Milan as they surged to that second place, and more crucially for them, a Champions League spot after this season. two sides have, in the last 12 years, 13 years, have played penalty shootouts between each other, as Enrique selects in a very interesting, not in a list, but in a positional sense on that board there, whom he thinks should step up, or I'm sure it's better to have players say they want to go up. Mancini emphasising the attitude he'll want to see from his team from the spots. Spain and Italy faced off in the quarterfinals of Euro 2008 and it went to penalties. Spain won that shootout and then they won the following shootout between the two sides in the semi-final of the Confederations Cup in 2013. That one went into a series of sudden death penalties before Leonardo Bonucci skied his penalty. Jesus Navas scoring the decisive spot kick to send Spain into the final, which they lost 3-0 to Brazil. Since then, both sides have also featured in more international shootouts and have lost. Spain, of course, lost a shootout in Moscow in the World Cup against the host nation Russia. Italy lost in the quarterfinals of Euro 2016 to Germany. Whatever happens, Simon has already had the ecstasy of winning a penalty shootout for his country in the very recent past, but Donnarumma, how about the ecstasy? Can he emulate the great Francesco Toldo, who saved 2 penalties, in addition to a penalty in the game for Italy against the Netherlands in the semi-finals of Euro 2000. Captains Chiellini and Alba. Chiellini again with the very friendly, sociable, it has to be said, qualities, although I'm pretty sure they're mind games to an extent as well. At least getting to one player's head, if not the rest. Italy, he's trying to give Italy all the confidence that they can win this and put just a bit of doubt, just enough, into Spain. It's also a defining shootout because when Italy faced Spain in their recent shootouts, they had Gianluigi Buffon, who was, even in 2008, already aged 30. Spain had Iker Casillas, who was in his late 20s when he won shootouts for Spain at the Euros in the past. These guys, neither of which have turned 25. 2 young men with a lot at stake. Of course, Kylian Mbappe, 22 years old, missed a penalty against Switzerland. It's Locatelli who stumbles up to the spot for Italy to start the shootout. He certainly looks like he wants to get on with it. Trying to shake off the anticipation and intensity of that, not just at taking a penalty, but the first to take a penalty of any kind. He'll certainly want to put so much power into it like he did with that goal against Switzerland, albeit that was on his left foot. This will be taken, of course, with his preferred foot, which is his right. Simon striding along the line. Locatelli, first for Italy. Saved! He didn't look the most confident figure stepping up to the spot, and it shows. And it's Simon's 3rd penalty save from 5 penalties in 2 shootouts. Chiellini trying to keep the mood up. That's all that experience, all that confidence showing. Donnarumma indirectly will feel more pressure to stop a penalty. It's the man who effectively saved Spain with that brilliant pass to Morata. Of course, credit to Morata for finishing, but it's Olmo who had a penalty saved by Jan Sommer in the quarter-final. So Olmo first up for Spain. Oh, skies it. Simon's efforts not counting for much now. Buffon, sorry, Donnarumma, his namesake, even going the right way for that one. Belotti, who's taken plenty of penalties for Torino. Locatelli had taken a couple for Sassuolo and had been generally solid. He had scored both, I believe, he took this season. Olmo not experienced in the spot, but Belotti, not least of all older than those two, certainly is Belotti. Scores! And I'm sure the disappointment of Locatelli's miss is being eaten away already. You can see a lot of relief from the playmaker. It is Moreno, who of course scored in the shootout against Switzerland but missed against Poland during the game in the group stage. Oh, checked his run and it just crept in over Donnarumma's outstretched right hand. Maybe wouldn't have gotten enough on it anyway. Bonucci, brave man, banished the memories of Brazil and Bordeaux. Is the third time from the spot in a tournament the charm for the centre-back. Here he comes. Brilliant. It's not quite a Stuart Pearce-sized release of energy, but I'm sure he'll be proud. It was a very well-placed penalty. Alcantara, who doesn't take many penalties, certainly hasn't taken many in games at least, but he's certainly a composed figure, and I wouldn't put it past him scoring. Oh, probably the best one so far. No excitement from Enrique. Looked like he was going to go for power the way he moved his arms, but gently rolls it into the corner. 2-2 after 3 penalties apiece. And it's Bernardeschi. He didn't come on to take a penalty, but I'm sure he's fired up for this one. Oh, top corner. Thumping penalty indeed. And now the pressure on Spain, because if they miss, Italy can go to the final with their next one. That's of course very hypothetical, and it is Alvaro Morata. One would hope he doesn't miss, especially given the abuse he's received from people on the internet. I'm sure he's put it past him here. No, he's stopped by Donnarumma, and Italy are one step away, one spot kick away from the final now. He took it too quickly. And if that is the last action of Alvaro Morata's tournaments, it is not a symbolic one. He has been so important for Spain when it's counted, not least of all tonight. And Jorginho, with that trademark technique, can put Italy back here at Wembley in 5 days' time. against Unai Simon. It's in, and Italy will play in the final. Roberto Mancini's men have survived yet another scare. Yet another opponent is cast aside. Just one more left for the trophy. A final they have not won for over half a century. Yet another attempt to win it, and the one they hope, is not wasted. Spain eliminated. Of course, they can be proud. They fast looked like they were returning to those days where they perennially underachieved. A semi-final appearance with this side under this manager for Spain is not an underachievement. These two will also face each other in a semi-final in a few months' time in the Nations League playoffs, which also feature France and Belgium. And who says that Italy won't go on to win this title itself the way they've been playing under Mancini? Spain can certainly improve, and they've shown good signs of that this tournament. But it's a release for Italy, certainly. Spain have still at least won tournaments, because when they were winning tournaments a decade ago, Italy was certainly in the wilderness. They've bounced all the way back from that. Didn't even qualify for the last World Cup. And now in the final of their next competition. 24 teams are down to 3. Whatever happens in this final now, no doubt the same will apply for the managers of Denmark and England. So have gone this far will be an amazing moment. An amazing story in the career of Mancini, Roberto Mancini, who won the FA Cup for Manchester City in this stadium 10 years ago. Looks like he could be on for another great achievement. As I said, even if he doesn't win this final, which his side is now in, he has done his country very, very proud. And to a lesser extent, Enrique for Spain, after their fiasco, with the way they dealt with Julian Lopetegui's saga at the last World Cup, which definitely affected their performances at the tournaments. They too have surpassed expectations, at least after that last tournament 3 years ago. But it's Italy's day, Italy's night, maybe their tournament, and tomorrow they'll find out who faces them. 2 opponents from the other ends of the continent. Is it going to be the English, which would be their first ever appearance in the final of this competition in a stadium which will have a massive home crowd cheering for them? Or will it be the Danes, who have of course been to the final before, have won it? Either way, a cagey, sometimes action-packed, still significant semi-final. Italy's rebuild bearing incredibly tasty fruits, and maybe the best will come still on Sunday. Final score here at Wembley, and I'll be back of course for the semi-final tomorrow between England and Denmark, not least of all because I am of one of those 2 countries. Final score, it's Italy 1, Spain 1. Spain win on penalties, 4 kicks to 2. So see you all tomorrow for the other semi-final. Bye for now.